Hi everybody, and welcome to a very unusual episode of the Midlife Synthesist. I hope you don't mind that today's video is a bit less neat and polished than my usual videos are, but I just wanted to break free from my usual format and do something different for a change. Just to avoid getting stale. If you don't like this, let me know in the comments and I'll just go back to doing my regular videos. Anyway, what I want to show you today is basically a walkthrough of how I come up with songs using, different pieces of gear and how they interact with each other. So today what I wanted to do is just give you a little overview of how I use all these machines together and kind of my thought process on how I do what and what roles each things play. So the Octatrack is mostly used as a mixer, a sequencer, and lots of times I use it as a live looper. In this case, it's mixing in what's coming in from the Fantom and what's coming in from the O-Coast, as well as sequencing the O-Coast. And there's a little bit of effects mangling here and there. I'll show you later. The Fantom is going to be one of my main sound sources going through the Microcosm. And what's interesting is that we're going to be using the built-in sounds from the Fantom, and also I'm going to put my voice to the reverb of the Fantom and the Microcosm, which is going to yield some very interesting results. And my other sound source is the O-Coast. Now, the O-Coast is an amazing little synth. It's very easy to program, really easy to get lost in. But today, I'm going to be using it just as a very simple tone because I'm going to be putting it through lots of reverb and lots of delay. And you might be thinking, why not, patch it up and do something really weird and wacky? The reason is I don't want the sound to get all muddied up because, as I said, I'm going to be using lots of effects on it. So I sequenced this little ditty on the Octatrack into the O-Coast. Nothing very fancy, right? But we're going to add some Nightsky into this. Immediately, just smile factory right here. The Nightsky, I've had it for a while. It's very versatile. I like it more than the Big Sky because the Big Sky kind of like overpowers the sound in my opinion. You can always tell it's the Big Sky. The Nightsky, I feel, it adds a lot, but you don't immediately think, oh, that's the Nightsky. Just my personal opinion. Next, we're going to add the mood. Now, the mood is like two pedals in one, really. So this half of the pedal, you can have a reverb, a delay, and something called the slip. And on the other half, you have like this weird micro looper. So let's add a little bit of delay into this. Okay. And now we're going to add the micro looper. Remember, the mood is going through the Nightsky, so all those ambient harmonics is also part of the Nightsky. And what's really cool about the mood is that it has its own little clock. And you can change the clock and the pitch of your micro loop and the delay. Just a little tweak and you have a whole B section. Okay, so that just by itself already sounds pretty interesting. And if we add a little drum track into it, nothing too fancy, just, a few kicks, a few snares, and a little bit of retrigs, it sounds like this. Already sounding pretty decent enough. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with like the bass of it, but that can get pretty boring pretty quickly. So what are we going to do? Shush, man. Shush. So I'm going to use the Fantom to do a little chord progression. Now the Fantom, obviously, one of the big strengths that it has are its built-in piano engines, particularly the V piano. And that's just like premium Roland. As I said, nothing too fancy. Now, I like this, but I feel it's a bit thin. So I'm going to add some little oomph to it on the bass side. Now, the very cool thing about the Fantom is that you can grab lots of sounds and layer them up on the same patch. So here, I'm going to go to scene 2, and I'm going to grab a tone wheel organ. Okay, that's sounding very good. And what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to assign it to scene 1. And if you look at the screen over here, I'm just going to have the layer come to the bass notes and then it disappears over here. So that way I get the bass notes over here with the piano. I'm going to lower it a bit. Just right. And I still have my piano over here on the high side. And now for the secret sauce, what we're going to do is I'm going to pass the piano and the organ through the microcosm. Now, I'm sure you've seen videos on the microcosm doing these wild things. And here I'm going to use it in a little bit of a toned down fashion. And I'm going to use it for these long tails of little, sprinkles and, flourishes here and there. And the Fantom being a workstation, I already recorded that little chord progression into a pattern over here. So I'm just going to put play. And we're going to start adding a little bit of hologram into it. There he goes. Now, especially with a hologram, you got to remember less is more. Okay, that's nice. I'm going to set it right about there. Okay. Okay, so now we have our basic ingredients, and I still have to add my voice into this, but hold on. How are we going to use this in a creative way in a live setting? So what's really interesting when you're hearing something or player live, I feel, is if you see the player actually doing stuff as the song goes along, and you can kind of participate in the song evolving. If not, none of this really makes any sense. You could just record everything and play it on your cell phone. So what I really like about Dawless is that you have the opportunity to, touch knobs and push buttons and make everything, start appearing live. So what I feel really adds a lot to the performance is when you start adding in and taking out little effects. So I'm going to start out with the melody, just with the Nightsky. I'm going to add the piano and the microcosm, and then I'm going to play around with the mood to start adding the delay and those little fluctuations that I did with the clock. Okay, so the only thing missing here is the microcosm on vocals. And it gets pretty weird. Now, of course, the microcosm was made for guitars mainly, and we synthesists kind of hijacked it. So it should do well with high frequencies. Okay, that's weird enough for me. Let's try it out. Without your rule